Hi, folks. John Dunn here up at Immortals, Inc., RPG freelancer, publisher behind Melior Via. I'm over here with Mikey tonight.
What is up, John? How have you been?
I'm having a ball. How about you?
Me too. And I think we have somebody lurking in the shadows.
We do, and he is very much lurking right now.
And he needs to be here because you guys have had some Starfinder beef.
Yeah. I was going to leave, but then he said something as I was walking out the door. So now I'm here to, let's see, I'm going to entertain me, John. Entertain me.
I live to entertain you, Carlos. But actually, the thing that came up was we got a couple of Starfinder books that are going to be coming up in upcoming podcasts. The one we're going to talk about tonight is the Dead Suns campaign. And I was giving Carlos a hard time because he didn't, immediately get this in the second it came out.
So, 9 a.m. when I work until 2.
Oh, but it's been 5 years though. According to John.
5 years? He sends me messages at 9 a.m. Who answers messages at 9 a.m.?
I mean, I'm at work at 5:30 in the morning, so I don't know about you.
I finish work sometimes at 5:30.
Yeah, see, well.
That's a separate podcast.
Anyway, so this is the Dead Suns campaign setting, or campaign rather. This is an Adventure Path collection that came out a few months ago. Though it originally came out as 6 individual Adventure Path books starting in about 2017, this was the first Adventure Path that was released for Starfinder. It covers a campaign going from level 1 all the way up to 13, and honestly, playing through it's going to run you, if you run once a week-ish, probably about a year to play through. There's plenty of content here. I actually just finished running it, and so I was kind of annoyed that it didn't come out in time for me to run it, because there are some great stuff that's in here that wasn't in the originals.
Oh, you mean annoyed that it didn't release?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
It's not that I didn't get it in time.
Well, I mean, I'm going to give you a hard time about that, but that was not the actual issue here.
Oh, my God. Sorry.
They cleaned up a bunch of stuff from the original releases. They were 64 pages each. This guy's 300, so there's a little bit of leeway in there. Some of the stuff that was in the Adventure Paths is stuff that then they republished in other books, some of the guides to the Starfinder area, basically. Those were $23 each, so you were looking at $138 to get all 6. This one's $50, so a little bit of a savings there. This did have an author team on it, so there was a different author on each of the 6 books, so there's a ton of high-level contributors and artists that were involved in putting this thing together. And the artwork, as you would come to expect, is absolutely gorgeous throughout. And, it's a solid package. One of the other things that's really nice about this, like I mentioned, is they corrected some stuff from the original Adventure Path releases. So there are a couple of points, if you read people talking about how that AP played through, where everybody's like, hey, everybody died at this scene. Yeah, they fixed that in this release. There's 3 or 4 encounters where they went, oh yeah, that armor class is totally wrong, or those hit points are totally wrong.
So you're saying in the original books it was overpowered?
Yeah.
And they kind of
corrected it. Part of the problem is those original Adventure Paths were released before the rules were finalized, or were written rather, before the rules were finalized.
Oh, it's that old.
Yeah, so this originally came out in 2017 when Starfinder first did. So this was just the compilation that just came out.
Oh, so maybe I did drop the ball on the ordering. I thought it just came out.
Like I said, there's a few world building elements that are cut, but most of those are packed world materials. It is very heavily illustrated. There are solid battle maps in here. But like I said, in that initial release, there were a couple of bugs, a couple of things that they maybe needed to kick the tires a little bit more before they optimized it. What's great about this, though, as an Adventure Path to introducing people to Starfinder, is that it's really a survey of the setting. You get to look around the packed worlds and explore them. So your first adventure really takes place on Absalon Station, which is kind of the core home area of the Starfinder setting. Then you travel to Castroville, you travel to Aox, you hit the Diaspora. Those are the first 3 of your 6 adventures. It also introduces some of the factions, the Starfinder Society, the Corpse Fleet, the Cult of the Devourer. These are all big players in the setting.
Corpse Fleet, is that undead?
It is absolutely undead. So
like magical undead, or
like magical undead, yeah. So Starfinder is the Pathfinder universe, Galarion in the distant future.
They're not robots.
There's robots too, but no, the corpse fleet are very much undead.
Oh, so there's fantasy mixed in with this.
Yes, you got science fiction in my fantasy is basically the core concept of Starfinder.
I don't know.
Seems fishy to him.
Seems a little fishy.
I mean, Shadowrun's kind of been doing it for 40 years, so...
I mean, but... All right.
Yeah.
I retract my statement.
Okay. It gives... Throughout the campaign, there are lots of opportunities for the player characters to be the big heroes of the storyline. So even from the get-go, they're having plenty of opportunities to be rescuing people and settling big disputes and garnering just a lot of respect from the world at large. So it gives them a really solid chance to, leverage that and become central characters in the storyline there. And it does expect a pretty broad range of character classes. So if you're putting your party together and there's some classes missing, might want to make sure you got some NPCs or maybe backup characters to cover that. In particular, when I ran it, we didn't have a mystic. That's basically the cleric type healing class. That caused some issues on occasion.
So cannon fodder? You need some cannon fodder?
It wouldn't be a bad thing. Yeah. The campaign is a race against time. You're competing with NPCs throughout, and there's limited opportunities for side quests. There are quite a few places when I was going through the AP where it said, you can do something here, and I looked at it and went, yeah, that makes perfect sense if they weren't racing with people to finish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why would you step aside during a race?
I don't know.
Oh, like a side quest when you have we got to stop this time bomb, and then
it's
wait, there's a side quest.
Exactly. Like if you think about the cartoon Star Blazers, right? We're on this mission to save the planet Earth, and we've got this timeline, and every episode you go, there's only so many days left, and then you're playing through the campaign, and they go, here's a side quest. I'm like, but there's only so many days to save the planet.
Listen, there's a lot of planets. Okay,
yeah, well,
let's stop and get burgers.
Past this, we're kind of get into some spoilery stuff. So if you're planning on playing through Dead Suns, probably want to stop watching the podcast now.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, exactly. So going through the 6 adventures of the AP, it starts off with this archaeological find at Absalon Station and kind of a battle over who owns it. There was a Babylon 5 movie called, I think, Third Space that it really reminded me very strongly of there. I don't know if either of you guys remember that one.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. It wasn't like my cup of tea. I didn't care for it too much.
Yeah, there was one of their movies.
I remember.
Really
I think I watched it with a friend.
Reminded me of that a
long time
lot.
ago.
But this also sets up the PCs with their first opportunity to acquire a spaceship. And hey, I have visions of the guy in the Lego movie shouting "spaceship!"
Yeah,
as we're going here. Yeah. After that, following up on some of the leads from that archaeological find, they go to Castroville, which is kind of an elfy planet and one of the core pact worlds. And so they travel around on Castroville. They find a lost temple. They encounter the Cult of the Devourer, who are these big bad guys that basically want to destroy the entire universe.
Wow.
Think
There's always got to be
cultists.
those.
Yeah.
We're talking Starfinder
You
here.
heard the C
Sounding like
word.
a universe that I've seen before.
There
Maybe
are
a little-
elements.
Yeah, maybe a little more colorful and happy here.
Sure. After that, the next adventure, you travel to the Diaspora, which is kind of the asteroid belt, and to Aox, which is the Undead Planet. So this is a whole planet where the planet was going through an apocalypse. And they said, why would we fix the apocalypse when we could all just become zombies?
Yeah,
Because we don't need an atmosphere then.
That'd make a hell of a movie. Quick movie.
Well,
No, I mean,
really, it's an eternal movie because once you're undead, you're just there.
it's the ultimate solution.
So you hit an abandoned cult station, you investigate an undead city. It gets into some really neat ideas where you've got these people who decide that they want to become undead. Yeah.
You get those.
Yeah, it's kind of a neat bit
I know some people.
After that, the next adventure, they travel to Eastamok. So they leave the Pact worlds. They get to do drift travel for the first time. This is basically Starfinder's version of hyperspace. And there's an archaeological expedition here to visit a crumbling civilization. This civilization basically collapsed thousands of years ago. So there's just kind of the remnants of it. Very strong Gamma World feel in this bit of the adventure where you're going to a ruined...
You sold me. I was literally listening in. I'm like, well, this sounds interesting. I might play this game because I never had an interest in Starfinder. I swear to God, I'm like, I could play 1,000 other, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of interesting. Now you threw Gamma World in the mix.
Totally.
Man,
After that, the next adventure, you get to travel to the 13th Gate, which is this massive engineered archaeological structure that's, in fact, it's 12 suns put together to make this structure. So you've got all these different solar systems that the PCs have to kind of manipulate a bit. And while they're here, they get to fight the Cult of the Devourer. Again, these are these big cultists that want to end the universe. And they've found this archaeological artifact that they believe is capable of doing that. It's kind of this culture's mega mutually assured destruction ultimate weapon thing, right? Think
it's a red
Death
button.
Star Plus. Yeah, exactly. And then in the final adventure, they get to open the gate, and then they have to fight the corpse fleet, who is also currently fighting the Cult of the Devourer and the defense mechanisms behind this mega weapon. So they have to board this capital ship and fight their way through all the undead in order to take control of it and ultimately attempt to use this massive capital ship to destroy the mega weapon, or at least incapacitate it indefinitely.
Oh, that's where you lose your ship you got earlier.
Well, yeah, pretty much. You really lose your ship over this, right? Yeah.
I mean,
That's one of those moments where you would sigh at me, so I have to sigh at you.
Exactly, dad jokes. Paizo Publishing, $50, hardcover, full color, about 300 pages. There is lots of stuff in here. It's real pretty. Some of it is going to depend on you having other Starfinder books, so probably don't want to make this the very first Starfinder thing you pick up, but we do have it on the shelf. It is a fun campaign. Took me about a year to run my players through it. I really enjoyed it. I think they did too. Recommend you take a look and check it out if you think this might be the thing for you. Assuming, of course, Carlos doesn't buy it first.
no, I'm not going to buy that. I mean, not in a bad way, but it's like I don't have time. But yeah,
Don't you have to play the first one too?
This is the whole campaign.
Yeah, it's a whole campaign.
So it's everything.
Yeah, you just need the core rules.
For 50, I see what you're saying now. Like you have the 6 separate. Usually their adventure pass are 6.
Yeah.
So you have the 6 separate adventures you can buy, but it has more information, obviously.
Yeah.
Or you can get this book and just run it through. And if it's a year for $50, I mean, if it took you a year and you play, you play pretty regularly. So
every week.
That's funny. No, John, that's I don't know what I thought Starfinders was. I honest to God, I was like, I don't want to play that, or I just had no history.
Clearly, he watches our videos.
Mm-hmm. Clearly,
no, I watched the video. And I had no, but the adventure itself is like, oh, that reminded me like Gamma World, like you said, like almost like a Futurama feel to it.
Oh, definitely.
And it's like, oh, okay, I could probably play that for fun, And it didn't. I don't know. I'm used to like Traveler.
Sure.
Yeah,
it's a different feel.
Yeah,
and it's absolutely a very different feel. Nothing wrong with Traveler. Traveler's a great game. This is a very different one.
Yeah. No, and it's more uplifting, or it's a little brighter. I've been
a lot of the time.
I've been sucked into the world of 40K, and I'm having to learn about that. So everything's like, blah.
You're still depressed.
It is not grimdark.
Yeah, no, it's a good system. Just so depressing.
All right. Till next time, folks. Stop in immortalsinc.com, or we got this here on the shelf.
Immortalsinc.com, baby. Like and subscribe. Peace out.
Good gaming.